People come together, strangers, neighbors, our blood is one. Children, generations of every nation of kingdom come. trouble. And hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. And fix your eyes on this one truth: God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from. Oh, 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 Jesus, our redemption and our salvation is in His blood. Jesus, light of heaven and friend forever, His kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled, and hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. And fix your eyes on this one truth: God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from. Oh,
If you have been around the locality for a while, or if you're just starting to hang out with us, one of the things that I promise is that you are gonna pick up that we place a lot of emphasis on community. You know, we're in this like weird state right now where a lot of us thought, you know, community wasn't that important in our life, but now we're all starting to realize how much we actually value community. And this past weekend, we had the pizza truck out of my house, and it was great seeing that those of you that were able to come out, you know, we all stood a safe 6 feet away and waved, you know, no one hung out way too long, you know, nothing like that. But it was great to see everyone there. But the theme that I kept hearing over and over again from people was how much they missed community. You know, and some people would freely admit that they never knew they had such a high value on community until it was pulled away from them, and not being able to get together on Sunday morning and see all these people become a part of their lives. It's something that they desperately miss. You know, there is a need within us for community. Now, I don't know what shows you're watching right now. If you're watching something great, please drop it in the comment, because I am in need of a few more new shows to start watching in my life right now. But one of the shows that I'm watching, and to be honest, it is a show that I am always watching, and it is The West Wing. Now, The West Wing is the greatest television show ever recorded, and if you have not seen it, when this service is over, you just need to start binge watching The West Wing, and I promise your life will be better for it. But the show, like, I have seen it so many times, I cannot even tell you how many. I would be scared to find out how many times I've seen this show. But yet there's still moments in this show, even though I know exactly what's about to happen, where it seems as if a character is about to die or leave the show, or there's some form of separation. Like, I get this emotional, gut, pit in my stomach, where all of a sudden I feel like emotion is overcoming me, and I'm thinking, like, why in the world am I being hit by this emotion? Because I know exactly how it's gonna come out. Like, I've seen this 1,000 times, but yet within me there's this emotional feeling. You know, some of us, we know what that's like because we've watched shows and there's like a form of separation or something happens, and you can't help but feel for that person. Or maybe it's, you know, not just TV, but it's real life. You know, you've lost someone, or your friend moves away. You know, Everly almost every day asks when she can go hang out with her friends, and we say, oh, not right now. And then she asks for Cassie and Bailey. We're like, oh, you know, Everly, they've moved away. Like, you can't hang out with them right now. And just like the sadness overcomes her. right? And there's a reason that this happens, because God created us to be in community. So it's natural that we grieve the losses, because that's the way God made us, And I think the Bible reveals two things about community. And the first is that God wants community, and he desires for us to be in community.
Sing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. And all creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. And all his children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. And all creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All his children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, swing wide, swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. And all creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. And all his children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus.
The book of Ruth is in the Old Testament, and it begins with these simple words, and it says, "There was famine in the land." I think a lot of us can relate to that phrase right now. There's famine in the land. All these things that brought us joy, the things that brought us happiness, those things that just fed your soul have been ripped out from us, and you're no longer able to do any of it. And so just like the book of Ruth, a lot of us, we find ourselves in this situation where we feel like there is famine in the land. In a little bit, we're going to jump into the passage, but I want to give a little backstory before we get into it. We're told there's a man by the name of Elimelech who takes his wife and his 2 sons to the neighboring country of Moab because he wants to seek out a better life for his family than what he has. So he sets off with his family. And we're told that shortly after arriving, he passes away, and his 2 sons, they end up getting married, and within 10 years of arriving in Moab, both of his sons died. And so we have Naomi, who lost her husband and her 2 sons. And all she has is 2 daughter-in-laws that she never actually wanted in the first place, because she would have preferred that they married, some good girls from her hometown. And so she's in this situation of thinking, everything that I hoped for, this land that was supposed to be better, everything has been taken from me. And that's where we pick up in Ruth 1 verse 6, and it says, "When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there." So Naomi is at the spot where she's like, you know what? Everything here is terrible. I might as well return home to at least where I know people. So she packs up everything and takes off to head home because she wants to, be around family and friends. And as she's on her way, she looks at her 2 daughters-in-law and says, "Don't come with me. It's not worth actually coming with me. Go back to where you know people. Do not come with me." And this is what we see in verse 11 when it keeps reading, and it says, "But Naomi said, 'Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I'm too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." And we're told that one of the daughters, Orpah, decides that she's going to go back home and not follow her mother-in-law, but instead we're told that Ruth decides that she is going to stay and follow her mother-in-law. And so here we have Naomi, who's angry. She's bitter. She's mad at God at the way that things have turned out. Like, they came to Moab for a better life. Like, they had a plan because they thought if we came here, life would be better. Everything came undone, and she had lost absolutely everything. And we're told that when she arrives back home in Bethlehem, she tells people, don't call me Naomi. Naomi meant pleasant. She said, I want to be called Mara, which means bitterness. She goes, there is nothing in my life that is good. My life is defined by being bitter, so just call me bitter. Some of us, we might feel that way right now. You know what? You can just call me bitter. Everything just seems to not be going right. I can't go out and get coffee and talk to people. Like, I don't know how. Like, just call me bitter because I'm not finding any joy in my life. And then we find this passage in Ruth, which is the most well-known passage in Ruth, and it's verse 16, and this is what it says. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Now, you may have heard this verse before. It's a pretty common verse that often gets used at a wedding, which is kind of ironic to me. And I always love when I sit through a wedding or I officiate a wedding and this is the verse they pick. Because in a sense, what this passage is it's a vow that Ruth is making, that she says, wherever my mother-in-law goes, I will go. My mother-in-law will be the center of my life coming forward. And so I love when two people on their wedding day, they decide, you know what? I want to pick a verse that is about making a vow to my mother-in-law. Like, in a sense, they're saying, like, I want your mother to be the center of our marriage, that wherever she goes, we go. I don't know too many people that on their wedding day, that's the vow that they want to make, that wherever my mother goes, that's where I am going to go. But yet that's the verse we find so many of us, we pick in this moment. This vow that Ruth made, it's pretty extraordinary. Why would Ruth choose to follow Naomi? Why would she leave everything she knew and go to a foreign land where she knows absolutely nothing? But yet she still makes this vow and says, you know what? I am going to go with you. Some people have said they think Ruth made this vow because after being married to Naomi's son, she found the one true God and wanted to be a part of a community that worshiped him. But you know what? I think it's actually something else. I think it's the testimony of Naomi's community, that when Naomi was at her lowest, when she was beaten down, broken, without anything, the one thing that she knew was she needed to go back to her community. Despite everything going wrong in life and want to be called bitter and being broken, she knew that she needed to go home. And I think there was something extremely attractive about that, of seeing someone when everything goes wrong, they said, you know what? The one place that I have to fall back on is my community, because that is where I am accepted and I am known and I can be a part of, and I know that I will be taken care of. And that image of community that we see here is exactly what I want for our community. We're gonna build community based off who we actually are. Like, there's something great about being able to walk into your friends in your community and be like, you know what? I'm a hot mess right now. There is nothing going right in my life. Like, I don't have to pretend to have it together. This is who I am, take it or leave it, but I'm a hot mess. Oftentimes we feel the opposite, that when we're gonna break into community, we feel like we have to, have life together. Like, I can only show you the sides of me where everything looks good. But we find it's really hard to have actual community when I control what you see about me. Whenever we do that, we feel like, you know what, I've been here for a long time, but I just feel like no one actually knows me. I always want to say, like, of course no one knows you because you're not letting people see you. Like, if I only pick the good sides of me, you're not gonna know me. You're only gonna know what I choose to show you. So what does it look like if we become a community that says, you know what, I can walk into a room and say, I am a hot mess, and this is who I am. And I promise you something unique happens. That when we do that, community actually starts to happen because God begins to build. Because when we walk in and we say, you know what, this is who I am and I need someone who is bigger and better than me. I need someone greater than ourselves. And that's when God's grace steps in and starts doing the building. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to be a part of a community where we pretend that we have everything figured out, where I only show you, the parts of me that are good, but I can be honest about my struggles and the things that are going wrong in my life. And that when I am at my lowest point, when everything seems to be going wrong, that I know that I have a place that I can come back to that's gonna welcome me in and accept me, and they're gonna help me come out of it. And a few of us, we're there right now. Life is hard, things are challenging. We feel like we're a hot mess and nothing is going right. And what we're realizing right now, the thing that we need more than anything is something that we may have not even known that we valued, and it's our community.
Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. Dark creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. And all his children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Our redemption, our salvation is in his blood. Jesus, light of heaven, friend forever, his kingdom come.
I want to end by going back to a verse that we looked at earlier, and it says, "The Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them." This verse is the purpose of Locality. It's why we give our time, our money, our heart, our energy, and our resources. It's because we believe that we have a God that considered his people and he gave them food. Like in our community, we reach out to others because we want to make certain that their needs are met because we have a God that met ours. Here's the thing that it's easy to miss. We live in a community. We have neighbors around us who are facing famine, but do not have that hope of a community that they can go back to. They do not have the reminder that there is a God who remembers them and provides them food. So the challenge we face is, how do we reach out into this community to meet the needs of those around us? So those who are struggling in their own famine may know that they are not alone. And we find that's done by becoming a Naomi. Now, Ruth never finds community if it isn't for Naomi. Now, you might be thinking, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to invite people. I don't know how to show people that there is hope, that there's a community they can be accepted in. I have no idea how to even show them that there is a God who remembers them and will provide. But I want to remind you who Naomi was. Naomi was bitter. She actively tried to push people away. She said, do not come with me. Like, she did everything wrong that was there, but yet she couldn't help but display what true community looks like. That when my life is a mess, that when everything is wrong, all she knew was I needed to go to community, that I need to be around the people that know who I am. So how do you live your life in a way where you are aware of, I want to show other people that, my life can be a mess, that things can go wrong, but I have hope because I know that I have a community that I'm a part of that accepts me and will take me as I am, and that I have a God who remembers me, and I know that I am never alone. So the challenge I face to you today is, who do you need to reach out to? Who do you need to give hope for a community? Because we are in a time where our neighbors are longing for community, are longing to be known, are longing for a hope, are desiring to know that there is a God who remembers them and will provide for them. One of the things that I love about this passage is that even though Naomi wanted to change her name from Pleasant to Bitterness, it says no one in her community would call her Bitterness. Instead, they insisted on calling her Naomi, calling her Pleasant, hoping that someday she would learn to embrace her identity. And this is our story. We come into our community broken, a mess. People who have made mistakes. And some of us, we wear it on our sleeves. We feel as if we should be called cheater, a terrible parent, like things are just going wrong. We have all these other names we want to assign to ourselves. But when you come into this community, we're not going to call you those names. But instead, we're going to keep calling you by something else. We're going to keep calling you the name that God gives you, that you are a beloved child of God, that you are a beloved daughter and son of God. And someday, we believe that you will learn to embrace this identity. One of the reasons that we end every week with our blessing is because we need a reminder that we have a God who remembers us and provides for us. And so today we're going to end with the normal blessing, but Shane's going to also sing a version of it. So as you leave this place and go about your life, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord go before you to lead you, behind you to protect you, beneath you to be your firm foundation, beside you so you may know that you are never alone, and may he be above you to shower you with his grace. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God goes with you always.
The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, he is with you, in the morning, in the evening, in your coming, and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 he is for you. Amen. 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 May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, he is with you, in the morning, in the evening, in your coming, and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 yeah. Amen. 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 Amen.
To all the moms, I know I speak for all of your children when I say that we love you, that we admire, we respect, we love, and hopefully in many ways we emulate you. But having a mother like you, whether God made you our mother at birth or God made you our mom along the way, there's only one thing that I can call it, and it's grace. It was grace that gave me a mother who has stood behind all of my biggest dreams, encouraging me to pursue my passions and to fan into flame my God-given gifts. A mother who sacrificed weekends to sit through all of our sports practices as we chased our short-lived dream of being a professional athlete. And I know we all still owe you that mansion we promised with our first contract. It was grace that gave me a mother that made me proud to be called a mama's boy. With a mother like you, that's the highest compliment a man can get. While for some, being a mama's boy means being weak and fragile, being your mama's boy made me, and it is still making me, a man of sensitive strength, quiet courage, and unflinching hope. Or as you like to put it, I get all of my good qualities from you. And it was grace that gave me a mother whose stubborn love never gives up on me. A mother who keeps believing that God will use me even when sometimes it's hard to believe for myself. A mother who persistently prays for me, and a mother whose unwavering support is the sure foundation on which I stand in every season of my life. No, I didn't get a say on who my mother would be, but if I did, there's no one on this earth that I would choose besides you. In a day when the world searches in all the wrong places for all the wrong reasons, for what it means to be loving, morally strong, and devoted to family, you were our constant example. When living in this world gets tough and turbulent and a constant and solid rock is needed to guide us through, we fall back on the example of you. We have many times told you that we love you, but I don't know if we've ever told you how much we admire you. You have passed on to us your words and your works, things that no one else could have ever taught us. You gave us the moral and the biblical basis of what is right and wrong and loving and just. If more mothers were like you, this world would be a much better place. In the creation story, we read about a God who stepped into chaos and gave order to all of creation. Think about it this way. It seems as God created, it kept getting better and better. And the last of his creation, which you could say is the pinnacle of his creation, God created the very first mom. Is it any surprise that the God of the universe kept the best for last? I don't think so. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.